welcome back to another episode of the Soup Bowl. I am your host, Renee Murdoch, and I am so happy that you are here, that you are liking, that you are sharing, and that you are doing life with me. For we know that when we get in the Soup Bowl, life is messy. And if you are living in this life, it will humble you if you're doing it right. So thank you again for just being with us. Hey, we're in the holiday season. Hopefully you've enjoyed your holiday and you're enjoying the planning of your holidays and what that means to you and your family. It should be a time that is stress free, a time to take in all the joyous memories and the memories that are going to happen and the traditions that you're trying to set forth. It should not be a time of stress. It should not be a time of worry and anxiety. If that's happening, call me. Call me. Let's talk about that. Right? You should just be relaxed. You should be relaxed. If the people are not helping you relax, then you need to talk to the people. You need to talk to those people, okay? And then also you need to put those boundaries up. Remember the boundaries that we talked about? You got to put them in place. Because if not, then you're not going to be able to enjoy yourself like you should. Save yourselves. Save yourselves is all I'm saying. Just save yourselves. There's nothing wrong with it. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? It's the topic that, although this is literally a topic that can be talked about year-round, and my daughter said something that I was like, you know what? It might be something good to talk about, right? Because she said something and then she did something, right? So that just always just starts the thing. Or maybe she did something and then she said something. I think it was she did something and then she said something. So I was like, oh, snap. Like, most people don't know, right? And so they're not listening to certain people. I don't know why we close our ears to wisdom. Why do we close our ears to wisdom? When we know that people have went on before us, they've been around longer, we see how they move and shake and bake, and we still don't want to listen to wisdom. Anywho, so daughter comes home, whatnot, whatever the case may be, travels, and she checks the bag. And I'm like, what? Why is she checking the bag? You're not here that long. Why are you checking the bag? And of course, because we're at the beginning of life, right? There's no system of her having, the rewards of, being able to get the bags for free and all these great, wonderful things. So there's the price that's there, unless it was a carry-on. So I'm like, what's happening here? Because, again, we're paying for it. She's not. But anywho, so we had to have a conversation about that. Then she mentions to me that her and her friend are going to be traveling this summer and that they're going to go out the country. And I'm like, oh, wow, wonderful. Well, we need to have another conversation again in regards to what are some travel hacks? What are some things that I need to keep in mind as I begin to plan? And maybe you are already in the midst of planning. You have already planned out even for the holidays. But, we have other things coming up. Spring break is coming up. Anniversaries are coming up. Birthdays are coming up. Whatever the case may be, traveling is always going to be on the list. And maybe because you've been stressed when it comes to traveling, you've limited yourself to really going around the corner. Or maybe just downtown or something like that. Or maybe just an hour or two drive and you're like, I'm not doing anything outside of that because it's just too stressful. Well, hopefully, after you've listened, a little bit, and maybe those of you who have traveled across the world and don't mind the planning, don't mind the digging and the research, and then you're like, yes, I found the hacks, right? So I don't want to charge you for anything, right? So it kind of irritates me a little bit. It frustrates me a little when people are like, oh, listen to it. Guess what I found? Whatever, just click here. You click here, then you got to click here. And it's like, oh, sign up. And then it's like, oh, it's for free. And then you go and it's free. And then they just give you just enough, right? And they're like, oh, if you want to learn more, you got to sign up for our class or our session. And this in the case, whatever. And then as boom, bam, there's the price tag, right? So there's no price tags. There's no hidden agenda. This is just straight from experience or what I've read and just still going through life, right? Because I've been some places. I've been a few places. Well, more than a few, but I've been around. Like, I don't mind traveling. I really don't. And I feel like the older that you get, the more liberations that there is with there's traveling, right? And we're going to talk about that as well. And then, of course, with different time, spaces, and people, how they want to travel, that's up to you. But there's just certain things that I just will not do based upon certain things. And we'll get into that. So, right? So, again, if you want to travel, you have not traveled, and you limit yourself to traveling, this is really like going to be like, oh, like, man, I can do this. Yes, you can do it. Yes, you can do it, right? So you have the planners, and then you have the people that's just like, boom, I'm going. What's out there? I'm leaving tomorrow, or I'm leaving at the end of the week because I just need to get away, right? And so I'm more of the planner, okay? If I want to be like, oh, I'm going to get at the end of the week, literally someone had to have done everything, and they're just asking me, hey, you want to go? This is all you have to pay. And I'm like, okay, tell me, da-da-da. They can answer all those questions. I'm like, okay, let's go, right? But I'm not like, I have not gotten there yet, right? To where it's like, let's leave at the end of the week and that's just because life, the way my life is set up. Your life might be set up just a tad bit different than mine, and so you might be able to do that, or you might even move like that. Either who, okay? It's to each their own. It's to each their own. So today we're going to talk about, I don't think we're going to get through everything today, so I'm already going to preface this that there's going to be probably two or three of these or whatever, but I definitely know that there's going to be two about this traveling thing, right? How to travel smart, how to save some money, keep some money in your pocket, right? And maybe you want to use that money towards whatever you see the value is in your trip, right? And getting the most out of every single trip that you take, right? And so in this one, we're going to be talking about planning, again, because I'm a planner. Check your list and check it twice. Don't you know it's going to be nice? I like the little rhyme. It's so cute. All right, so in that, you got your budget, you got your transportation, how you're going to get there, your lodging, your food, your activities, right, and how you're going to pack. Everything you should think about before you ever, right, lock your front door and be like, yeah, let's go. It's done. We're out, right? So let's talk about this. The first thing is you want to be realistic about the budget that you're doing, right? So don't say that you want to spend $5,000 and you don't have $5,000. I'm just going to start this off. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off of this. You should not be spending $5,000 on a credit card and you do not have the money in your bank account. Stop it. Stop allowing the system of man to trap you into debt. That's how we get into debt, people. We're swiping our cards on things that we do not have the money to pay for. So cut it out. Cut it out. If you don't have the $5,000, then you don't have a $5,000 trip. It's just simple as that. You will get there one day. But today is not your day to go into debt, right? So you need to start with a number that you are comfortable with spending, right? That's going to come out of your bank account. I am not saying that you cannot use a credit card or rewards card or whatever it is that you have. I'm saying that you should have that money there. You should have the money there. You should not be spending money that you do not have to travel with. If you don't have the money, don't you go nowhere. If you want to go somewhere and you need the money, then maybe you need to be pushing some things aside. Maybe you need to go get you another side hustle. I don't know. But you need to make sure that you have the money for that trip. And how do you break it down? How do I begin to add up everything? Not just, oh, how I'm going to get there or where I'm going to stay at, but no, for the whole trip. Why are you taking the trip to begin with anyway? Is it for a particular event? Because that's a lot of times most of them do that. Or is it for some relaxation and you want to go do a particular thing? What is that? Why are you going, right? So you need to think about your transportation and how you're going to get there. How far is it away from where you stay at? Do I need to get on a plane? Am I willing to drive? Am I willing to get on a train? Do I want to go on a boat? All of these things. I don't know. Maybe you want to bike there. I don't know. All of these things are important, right? And so you need to add up the cost for that. And that goes in reference to the time that you have to go on your trip. And after that, you're going to take up the cost of the lodging. Am I going to go, is there going to be a cost? Am I going to end up staying with a family member? And so I'm not going to get charged. Do I have some type of timeshare? Do I know someone that has timeshare, and then I can ask them, and then I can just pay them a certain amount of money? Or am I going to go online, and am I going to go through Orbitz or Kayaki or Google, or all of these others? Or do I have a travel agent, someone that I may know? And let's start there. I should have started there, right? If you want to go through a travel agent and you just feel like that's just the best way for you to be stress-free, by all means, do that. But again, you still need to have your budget in place. So they know what it is that they are working with, and they can give you the actual type of things that you need to work with. All right, and so activities, what do you want to do while you're there? Are you going to go to a concert? Are you going to go to a show? Are you going to be going to a historical tour? Anything of the nature. You need to add up what those activities are going to be, right? And then how are you going to get around once you get there? Are you going to rent a car? Are you going to be Ubering, Lyfting? Are you going to be getting rides with other people? You have to think about those things as well. What is the cost going to be for that? And then there needs to be that buffer, that emergency buffer, because you might have planned for something, but something else might have ended up happening. And so that's the purpose of why I believe that everyone should have at least one credit card for the emergencies. Again, for the emergencies. Not for everyday purchases, but for the emergencies. Anyway, and so when it comes to flights, for me, I have learned that it is best to, one, try to stick to an airline that you prefer. Because if you're sticking to that airline, then you can begin to earn status on that airline, which can cut down on a lot of other things as we begin to talk about the planning, right? Because if you're beginning to get a status with a particular airline, then you can also get discounts on rental cars. You can also get discounts on lodging. Again, those are things that you need to think about. Also, you can also get discounts on meals because they have a program and they're like, oh, if you go through here and you go to these particular restaurants or whatever, then again, there's discounts that are there. So for me, I learned over the years that I wanted to stick with a particular airline. If I have to go outside of that airline, that is understandable because, that airline is not going there. Or they're not going to get me there in the time frame that I need to get there, and so now I won't go with them. But if it's just kind of like, I'm going to lose my miles if I don't go, right? So all of that, I'm adding up the cost of all of that, right, when it comes to that. When you start to get your miles and your points and all these things nature, some of these things won't even come to play. Oh, I can travel there for free because I don't have to pay anything. I have enough miles, or I'm just going to pay the taxes. So my $500 flight is now only going to be $23.62 because I'm just paying the taxes. So all of these things, right, are about adding up the cost of things. And so if you live in a particular city, I suggest that you look at what particular airline, right, is the hub there. And if you're in a city where it's not the particular hub, but you know that it's a transfer point for a particular airline, then I would kind of lean towards that if they have good service. If they don't have good service, then by golly, don't do it. Because at the end of the day, again, it's about being stress-free and not having a whole bunch of worries and anxiety that's happening. I'm just going to say it. So I have traveled literally in the United States of America, right? I'm going to talk about the United States of America based companies. I have traveled on every single one of the companies. And I can honestly say that I will not travel Spirit. I won't do it. I traveled Frontier when they first kind of started popping off a little bit, I guess, more towards the East Coast. And they had these like flights and I was trying to do like a surprise thing for my boo, and it was going to Las Vegas, and it was like 49 bucks. And so I was like, yo, we could do this, right? It looks nice. These got great reviews. And so we get on the flight, and it's like the little, what do you call it, the little tray or whatever. It was like the size of Sahaja's like little played desk piano or something. It was like so someone my size, I guess it's okay, but someone on the more healthier side, no, it's not a comfortable flight. And if the person my size, right, and you're with someone of the healthier side, it's not going to be a good flight. It's not. For anyone, it's not going to be a good flight. And so I'm just saying, hey, I don't know, maybe that's just that was my experience, but we're not doing it. We're just not doing it. And again, I think that's more of a West Coast based airline as well. So I don't know. I found Virgin American Airlines, which they don't do many flights anymore, but it was really a great flight. It was really great. So because of where I live at, I decided to go with American Airlines. I do notice though that I'm doing international flights. There is another, because where I'm based at, there is another airline that actually does better in more flights that kick out, right? And maybe the travel time is a little bit better, and that's United Airlines doing international flights. So I have realized that as well. And so you can, again, you can have multiple accounts, whatever. They're free for signing up. It's not free when you start getting into getting their credit card, but it is free to have an account, and you can accumulate points that way. They want you to get their credit card so you can accumulate more points, right, by doing other purchases. If you spend so much in a year, then you get, all these other big bangs of bucks and all these type of things or whatever. So I do know with American Airlines that I literally get a free flight every year as of now because of my status. So also that the companions that I travel with up to 4, their bags are free, right? And then I also get 2 bags for free. If I travel international, then it's free. So I'm not paying for check bags at all. It's never an issue for me having to pay for check bags, right? So whether I'm gonna do a check-in or do a carry-on, it's really about my preference of how light I want to travel. And I'm always trying to travel light, so I ain't trying to check in no bag anyway, because I ain't trying to go there and wait for the bags to come out. So, anywho, so that's what I've decided to do based upon where I live at. Now, if I move away and I go somewhere else, then that's, we got to talk about that. Because some people in Chicago, again, they choose American Airlines because, again, it's the base, or you're in Charlotte, again, it's just where you're at. If you're in Atlanta, a lot of people want to choose Delta. Again, if it's a great airline, you like their service, then go for it. Dallas, some people love to get on Southwest. And so, hey, and actually, Southwest Airlines in, I think, Texas and where was that? Orlando. They have a really good gate area. In certain areas, they do not. Like, they're like super small, and it's like real tight, and you're just kind of like, even when you're waiting around, it's just like, eh. Anyway, so all right, so that's that. Again, see, I don't think we're gonna get to this because we're almost like literally past the halfway mark. All right, so you want to make sure that you're breaking down each cost of these areas. You want to make sure that you create a daily spending limit. If you create this daily spending limit, right, it's going to keep you on track, and then it's also going to be able to help you overall in how much you want to spend and what your budget is going to be. You need to be realistic in this, right? Is there things that you can prepay? Are you going to get a discount for that? Like, I know for sure there's certain things that I do every year, right? And it's not changing as of now. So when I do certain things, I'm like, boom, I know I'm going to do this. If there is a discount, if I pay now, then I'm taking it. I'm going to take it because I know my plans are not going to change unless there's an emergency. And then, of course, there's that clause for that. So I am prepared for that, to do that. So If you can do that to avoid surprise costs or any back end costs or anything, then make sure you look at that. Make sure that you look at, is it best for me to go through a third party, or is it best for me to go actually to the actual company itself and do it? I do know I've done it all. I don't want to say all, but right, I went through Hotel.com, I went through Orbitz, I went through Kayaking, booking certain things. I will not go through Hotel.com again because of an experience I had there with lodging and renting a car. I don't know why I decided to do it this time. I just did. I was just like, oh, the price looks great, and I did it. And then trying to change things was, oh my gosh, goodness, it was just not great. Even when I got to the hotel, there were some issues, and they did not want, oh, you got to go through the third party because you booked through the third party. So I always make sure now that I look at, if I'm going to a hotel, that I am looking at what the third party underlying stuff is saying, and then also what is the hotel doing. Because if there's only like a couple of dollars difference, then go through the actual main company site, whatnot. Is going to work better for you if you end up with issues with your room and things of that nature. And also, getting accommodations changed or getting credit or things of that nature. It's just better just to go through the company itself. All right, now, getting there, what am I going to do? We kind of already talked about that. If you're going to be flying, again, know which airline you want to do. The more flexible your dates are, the better it is, right? So even though I go through one particular airline, I try to land on that one for the first one, I still look at other third parties because, one, I like to see the calendar. I'm just a calendar person. I like color codes. I like what to tell me, like, if you fly these dates, then, it's on the low end, it's the mid range, and this is the high end. So I really like looking at that. I also like to go in and Google and say, what is the best time frame or the best months to travel this month? What is the high end and the low end in this particular area? And that lets me know, like, oh, do I want to endure crowds and all these things of that nature? Telling me, like, if that's someplace that I want to go. And then also looking at the airports, right? Is it alternate airports that I can get to and maybe I can drive to that might be cheaper, or someone can come pick me up? If the airport is only 45 minutes away, then I possibly could fly in there then, other than flying in, air quote, the actual main airport. So those are things to think about. Do I want to drive? Okay, so I don't mind driving, right? I can drive a long distance. I'm at the point now, though, I don't want to go 4 to 5 hours over anymore. I'm like, I don't want to do that. If I have to go 4 or 5 hours over, I'm flying. So that's something that I decided that I wanted to do. Again, these are choices that you have to make and on your budget. Can you afford to get on a flight versus driving? And is it worth it of when you're getting off work or when you have the time off to get there to do what you need to do? You got to check your rest stops, right? It's not just about renting the car, right? If you're taking your vehicle, okay, great. But then what's the cost on it? You got to think about the maintenance. You want to make sure that it's ready for the road for long distance. You want to make sure that you have money for the gas that you're going to be doing, right? That, how much. And hey, because of technology, it can easily tell you that. You're going to put your type of car in there. You're going to put the distance in there. It's going to tell you how many possible stops you need to make for your to fill up or whatever, and give you the cost on that. So things are just getting really more proficient for us to actually plan this out. You just got to know when to do and where to stay at. Where to go. All right, and then of course, do I need to plan to stay overnight while I'm on the road? Because I'm only going to drive this many hours, and then I'm going to park it, and then I'm going to do it again. Bother. I can honestly say, because I'm cheap, I've never actually went and got a hotel while I was en route driving anywhere. I literally slept in my car and went to the rest stop because I'm cheap and I didn't want to pay. Because I didn't want to pay it, right? And so I'm like, no, I'm just gonna stop in the rest stop. Give me some couple of hours of shut eye. I'm rejuvenated. Let's get up. Let's keep going and let's get going. I'm not checking in a hotel. I'm just not doing it. I haven't done it. So let me stop and say that. I have not done it yet because, again, I'm not driving over 5 hours. Now, if it's over 5 hours, that must mean that it must be some great adventure that I'm going on, because I did say that I'm going to go across country in an RV. Like, I'm just going to be making stops and I'm going to be going to all the national parks. That is one of my things that's on my list that I want to do before I leave this earth. So, again, by that time frames. And then again, I'll be staying in the RV. But we could stop and stay in a hotel. I don't know. But again, counting up the cost. So again, that's up to you. Do you want to do the train? Do you want to do the bus? Right? So there are some good buses out there. It's just, again, what can you afford to do? Train rides are not bad. Bus rides are not bad, right? But you have to understand what it is that you want to do. It's really good for just in the regional area for travel. You're traveling over distance. Again, you got to add up the cost. So I want to be on this bus 2 and 3 days to get to where I'm going. That's something that you got to ask yourself, right? All right. Then you want to make sure that you calculate all of the time that's traveled together. So no matter what your transportation is, you want to add up all of the travel time. And when you're on the flight, it's not just, oh, your flight was this long. No, what? Because you might have a layover. You want to add all that time in there. You're making stops. You want to consider that. All right, you're making stops to eat if that's what you choose to do other than pack snacks. Oh, we're going to get on that. And so all of these things you have to take into play. If you're going on a bus, there's bus stops. All those things come into play. So you want to make sure you want to calculate that. Again, is it something that you want to pay or you want to try to get there as early as possible? Then let's talk about this lodging thing, where to stay and how to choose wisely, right? You want to compare hotels. I'm always going by the reviews. I'm a review person. I'm going to write a review. I'm going to read people's review, right? Do I want to do vacation rentals? Do I want to do a hostel? People do that. Again, if you're traveling with a family or some sort, it might, okay, you're traveling single, hostels might be a really good option. And then, or all-inclusive resorts. I know my person was really against all-inclusive, and then finally we did it, and then now that's all they want to do. Somebody a little bougie, although they're cheap. So I'm just saying, you have to know how you want to travel and if you're there. I know when I first started off, I was not in the all-inclusive. No, I could not afford that. And then even now, it's great to have all-inclusive. I don't drink though, but it's great for some people that drink because those things do add up, right? Meals, they add up. An all-inclusive resort, you literally don't have to worry about your meals. What are you going to eat? Where are we going to go? And then whatever. You just have this, okay, we're going to eat here on this day we'll eat here. Okay, for lunch it's all good. No one wants to do all that at this particular time, so we're going all-inclusive. So just think about that. Your hotels, do you have points at a particular place? And so if so, that's a great way to start there. If there's something close by and where you're staying at, think about that. All right, and vacations, rentals. Consider the neighborhood safety, right, when you're doing Airbnbs, right? My daughter was like, oh, we're going to do an Airbnb. I'm like, She doesn't know. No, you're not. So you got to think about the safety of the area. Look at it. They're going to tell you, they're not going to give you the address right then and there, but they're going to look at, you can see around the area, you can look it up, right? Go into another browser, begin to Google that neighborhood, see what the crime rate is, right? You can look up, is there pedophiles in that area? What is it close by? Because a lot of times people are, right, rebuilding up neighborhoods, but then boom, right down the way or whatever, it could be crack house or something like that, or you're literally in downtown, area where it's kind of rough at. So you have to look at those particular things. I remember one time I went to a hotel, I did not realize that you was in the thick of it, and I was like, yo, hotel nice inside, go outside, it's another story. All right, so you got to think about that. Your public transit, if that's what you plan on doing, how close is it to where that you are? Does that make sense? What are the cancellation policies? You want to make sure that you're reading them thoroughly. Read the fine print and ask questions. Keep asking questions until you get all your questions out that you need to ask. And again, like I said, you want to use your loyalty points. Sign up for something. You got to start somewhere. If you haven't signed up, sign up for something. It's free. Most of the programs are free. Once you get into them, then of course they'll start being oh, you should get this and you should get our card and this and that, whatever. And that's when the fees start coming in. But you don't have to get the card. You could just get the points, right? So if you know that you're staying the Marriott, you can do Bon Voyage, reward points. You're staying with the Hilton, right? There are reward points there. The Holiday Inn, there are reward points there. All these things, the Ritz-Carlton, there are reward points there. So you just need to know where you want to start doing, and you can, again, have your programs, and you can't keep up, have a little book or whatever for all your information for your rewards program, because these things can get you upgrades, right? You can get up to a suite, right, for free upgrade if you get so many things. You can get a breath fix or something that, or you can get free, entrees or something of that nature, free drinks down at the bar. So all these things come into play when you talk about utilizing your reward points. Meal planning that doesn't break the bank. Number one, I always have some snacks. If you see me with a backpack, there are snacks in there, ma'am, sir. All right, so even when I'm commuting, there are some snacks in there because you never know what situation you're going to find yourself. If I'm traveling, I have the snacks. I am not buying snacks at the airport. You cannot get me to buy a bag of Twizzlers at the airport. I will not buy Pringles or chips or dip, anything of that nature at the airport. It's even hard for me to break down and buy a meal at the airport. I just don't want to spend my money at the airport. I just don't want to do it. And again, that is my choice, because why? I want to spend my money somewhere else. And then I also feel like they're robbing us. They are literally robbing us. And so I cannot in good conscience know that if I buy a sandwich here and the same sandwich out there is costing me $3 or $4 a difference, I just can't do it. I literally will go hungry until I get to my destination. But if I know how I'm traveling, I literally will pack things. I'm serious. I will pack, fruit. I will pack like a salad. I will pack, of course, my favorite travel snacks, which one of them are Twizzlers. I will also make sure that I have, whether it be an egg sandwich, if it's something in the morning, whether it's peanut butter and jelly sandwich, something of that nature, right? I'm packing it and it's there. We're working it out. All right, so look. You want to make sure that you have your travel snacks with you, especially if you know that you are traveling a distance, right? So if you are on a train, a bus, even, driving, you want to make sure that you have some snacks. You should not be, every time you stop at the gas station or every time the bus makes a stop or whatever, or going to the train area with the snack area, you should not have to be. Why are you spending $3 for a pack of M&Ms that you could have got at Walmart before you left for $1.25? I'm just saying. Why? Why are you spending extra money? See, these people, y'all got money like that. Y'all got money like that, but you really don't, because it's not even swiping your card. Anyway, get your M&Ms before you leave out. Get your M&Ms before you leave out. You don't have to be doing that, right? You also looking at where you're going in the area in which you're staying in. Look, say, okay, I have $20 to spend for every meal, if that's the case. Or maybe where you're staying at, they do one meal, and you only have to cover the rest. Or maybe an activity that you're doing that day, a meal is covered. And so now you're thinking about, oh, okay, I have to do this. Let me tell you, when I went to Disney, every time we went to Disney or whatever, I am literally planning it out like that. I'm like, okay, if we go here, there are meals included for children. Okay, boom, we don't have to worry about that meal, but I'm going to have some snacks. And then, okay, now we just need to be concerned about breakfast. Okay, what are we doing okay, every day, this is what we're doing. Here's options. This is what we're doing every day. It's the dinner that's really going to, take some strategic thinking. Right? And so for me, if I'm traveling with children, where do kids eat free? Hello. If I'm going to buy a meal, then why not have the young people get their meals for free? I am not too proud to beg. I'm not begging, but I'm just saying. I am not too proud to save some money. Okay, we're going there. You're eating for free. We're going there. Hey, they got a deal. 2 entrees and blase, 2 for $25. Why not? Unlimited soup and salad. Why not? Okay, and then there may be the time where it's like, okay, let's splurge. Let's splurge, right? When you're going overseas, it's a little bit different, right? So you got to think about again where you're going, look around, whatever. Don't be afraid to ask the concierge and all these type of things of where you want to go, type of cuisine you want to eat. So it's a little bit different for that, right? So you got to think about that as well. All right. The next thing is the last thing again, so we can get up out of here because we're over. Is make sure again you have your lunchbox. Little bag, little lunchbox. Have your lunchbox. Put it in a lunchbox, right? Not in a baggie. Put it in an actual lunchbox and put it in your bag, so you know, right, that that's where all of your snacks are at, and it's like literally there. I guess we'll get into that when I talk more about like getting into like packing for your language, your luggage or whatever, which we didn't even get to yet today. See, I told you it's gonna be a little bit longer because I talk about traveling, right? But anyway, so we got to get out of here. Do know that good planning does make a difference. You knowing that you must count up the cost or whatever, and to make your travel free, stress free. Okay, so I do want you to understand that, hey, if you have some traveling hacks or some tips or things that you have questioned about, put them in the comments and share them with us all. All right, everyone, do know that leading is teachable. I love you, and until next time,